Thank you all very much for coming today. It's very good of you. Now, I won't naturally hold you too long with the way the weather is. Just again to say, my name is Kenneth Bannerman. I'm the head of the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust, or as we also call ourselves by our initials, ABCT. So just in case you haven't heard of us before, we are essentially the world's first national airfield charity. It's quite revolutionary what we do, and we've been around now for over 17 years. So we're really delighted to be here today to unveil the first of 4 memorials in this general area over the next 36 hours or so. In this case, to Capel or Folkestone airfield. The name was a bit fluid, especially when it came to the authorities. So this was one of Britain's most important airship stations in World War I. And it dates back to May 1915. It had a bit of a strange start because the first airship that came in to Capel actually crashed in approach. And then, as is not completely forgotten, what also happened was that when they were building the first airship shed, there were 3 of them here by 1918, the early airships couldn't even get in them. So they had to dig into the ground to lower the floor, and until recently you still see the concrete floor foundations. There are 1 or 2 photographs of that if you know where to look. So once things got into place, settled, this place by any standards played an absolutely huge part in the winning of World War I. This is where the caravan park just next door is based. There's still some foundations there. What were called blimps, non-rigid airships, and I'll come back to the term blimp in a second, they relentlessly mounted anti-submarine and convoy escort patrols over the English Channel, and the airships here were very heavily active. Now, Capel's also played, it appears, a part in general aviation history. You may have heard of airships being called blimps. Well, the term, according to some sources anyhow, actually started here. It was when people were flicking their fingers on the fabrics of these airships, it was like a blimp sound. So that's how the name came into play. Although when I say there is another contender, airfield contender for the title for the term blimp. But this place was really heavily active, and the proof of the pudding is at the end of World War I, when talking about all of our anti-submarine patrol bases, U-boat commanders, after the war had ended, said when they were being interrogated that if it wasn't for all the airships and biplanes and flying boats flying over places like the English Channel, the U-boat commanders and U-boats kept their heads below the water, so therefore they were rendered far less effective. And the absolute proof of the pudding was that in the last year and a half of World War I, thankfully, the amounts of Allied shipping lost and therefore lives lost plummeted. And this was an awful lot of it, not forgetting of course the Royal Navy's efforts as well, but a lot of it was due to all these aircraft flying overhead from here like Capel. After World War I, as with so many airfields, the airfield fairly quickly closed down. Now there's a bit of a debate about when Capel closed in 1920. There are 3 different dates, but certainly by August of that year, there was already redevelopment or planned development for industry and so on. However, there was one major survivor that lasted for many years after the conflict. There was one airship shed just along the road from here, and you see plenty of photographs on the internet, for example. It lasted here until the late 1940s, and it was quite a well-known local landmark. And some of the older generations may recall the Silver Queen buses, and they were actually based at the airship shed at Capel. Also, flying hadn't quite ended, because in the early 1930s, Sir Alan Cobham mounted one of his famous national aviation displays here. And then in World War II, the base played a similarly extremely important part in winning a world conflict, because there was a radio monitoring station here that again is still remembered to a degree, and this was to do with enemy communications interception. So this would be to do with, in a way, the Enigma system. It's still rather secret, but there was a radio station there. So that alone played a very big part in the winning of World War II. As I've said, there's not really much to see now, roads and foundations if you know where to look. But just to finish off by saying that apart from Capel or Folkestone's tremendous achievements, that this is all part of how our airfields, active and disused, operate. Essentially, we just cannot afford to lose these places. They are the most tremendous forces for good. And just very sadly, until relatively recently, people at best maybe just took them for granted, if even that. So that's why, never mind all the phenomenal heroism and dedication here, we just must never ever forget places like Capel Airfield and all the people who served there. And so that's why, if nothing else, we are going as fast as we possibly can to unveil our memorials to Britain's disused airfields. I mean, suffice to say, we've already erected over 200 of them right across the UK. So this is deadly serious stuff, as you can imagine. And just final point to say, just to let you know, of courtesy, we will be unveiling 2 memorial plaques this afternoon. And of course, anyone who wants to come along is very welcome. At 1 o'clock this afternoon at Dover Guston Road Airfield, which is now the site of Guston Church of England Primary School. That's at 1 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock this afternoon, a similar plaque to Whitfield Aerodrome, which was before World War I. That will be at the Holiday Inn Dover at Whitfield. And then, just for good measure, tomorrow morning at 10:30, a similar memorial like this will be unveiled to honour Dover, St Margaret's or Whitfield Airfield. That's in the Clifftop Road between Dover and St Margaret's at Cliff. That was where the first Royal Flying Corps pilots flew over to France at the start of World War I. So, you know, it goes without saying, we're going as fast as we humanly can to properly honour our airfields and everyone who served at them with getting these memorials up and running, which I'm delighted to say are proving extremely effective. They really are. So again, thank you so much for all your time, and you know, we wish you well, and as I say, we hope this memorial brings you good fortune. And therefore I'm absolutely delighted to, on behalf of the charity, and also I should mention as well, special thanks to Lorraine and Alan Sensico, the local Dover historians who unfortunately can't be here today. They're honoured in the memorial as well. So on everyone's behalf, we're really delighted to unveil this latest memorial to yet another of Britain's absolutely priceless assets, in this case Capel or Folkestone Airfield. Thank you all very much. Thank you.